The Phoenix Rising, a tale of triumph and resilience. In the heart of a bustling city lived a young woman named Aisha. Her days were filled with noise, her nights silent but heavy with the weight of unfulfilled dreams. She was a middle child in a family of 6, often overlooked and underestimated. Life for Aisha was a series of gray, monotonous days. She worked as a cashier in a grocery store, her dreams buried under the responsibilities that weighed on her shoulders. But deep within her a fire smoldered, a fire that life had tried to extinguish many times. The early days of struggle. Aisha's family had struggled financially for as long as she could remember. Her father worked tirelessly as a mechanic, and her mother took up stitching jobs to make ends meet. They lived in a small, run-down apartment where laughter was rare and arguments were frequent. Aisha often sat by the window, dreaming of a life where her family didn't have to choose between paying rent or buying groceries. Her aspirations were not grandiose. She didn't dream of mansions or riches. What she wanted was freedom. Freedom from the chains of poverty, freedom to explore her potential, and freedom to make her own choices. The turning point: one fateful day, while scrolling through her old books, Aisha came across a tattered copy of The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. The book had been a gift from her high school teacher who once told her, "You have a spark, Aisha. Don't let the world dim it." As she turned the pages, a quote caught her attention. "When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it." Something inside her clicked. She realized that waiting for her circumstances to change wouldn't help. She had to be the one to take charge. But the question remained: how? The leap of faith. Aisha decided to start small. She had always been good at baking, a skill she had learned from her grandmother. Every weekend, she began experimenting with recipes, often burning batches and making a mess of the tiny kitchen. Her family laughed at her failures, but Aisha didn't mind. With each failed attempt, she learned something new. One day, she baked a batch of chocolate chip cookies that were an instant hit with her younger siblings. Encouraged by their reactions, she decided to take a bold step. She would sell her baked goods. With her meager savings, she bought ingredients and designed simple packaging using brown paper and string. She named her venture Sweet Escape and started selling cookies to her coworkers and neighbors. The response was overwhelming, but the journey was far from easy. The roadblocks. The first few months were a roller coaster of emotions. Some days she sold out within hours. On others, she returned home with unsold boxes. Doubt began to creep in. Was she wasting her time? Was she chasing an impossible dream? But Aisha had learned to find inspiration in the smallest of victories. A kind word from a customer, a glowing review, or even the sight of her siblings enjoying her treats kept her going. One night, after a particularly tough day, Aisha sat down with her father. She shared her struggles, expecting criticism or indifference. Instead, he surprised her with a smile and said, "You remind me of your grandmother. She was fearless too. Keep going, Aisha. You're stronger than you think." Building the dream. Encouraged by her father's words, Aisha began to think bigger. She started posting pictures of her cookies on social media, learning about marketing from free online resources. Slowly but surely, her following grew. Orders started pouring in, not just from her neighborhood, but from other parts of the city. She reinvested her profits into her business, upgrading her kitchen equipment and experimenting with new recipes. Soon, Sweet Escape became more than just a side hustle. It became her passion. The breakthrough. 2 years into her journey, Aisha received a call that changed everything. A local cafe owner had heard about her through social media and wanted to feature her cookies in his cafe. This was the opportunity she had been waiting for. The collaboration was a massive success. Her cookies became the cafe's best-selling item, and word of her talent spread like wildfire. Soon, other cafes and bakeries reached out, and Aisha found herself at the helm of a growing business. The Phoenix Rising. As her business flourished, so did Aisha's confidence. She started mentoring young women in her community, teaching them how to turn their passions into professions. Her journey inspired many, proving that resilience and determination could overcome even the toughest of challenges. Aisha's story didn't end with her success. It evolved. She opened her own bakery, a cozy space where people came not just for the cookies but for the warmth and inspiration the place exuded. She named it Phoenix Rising, a tribute to her journey of rising from the ashes of her struggles. The legacy years later, as Aisha looked around her bustling bakery, she felt a deep sense of gratitude. Her family no longer worried about bills. Her siblings pursued their dreams without fear. And Aisha? She had found her purpose, not just in baking but in inspiring others to believe in themselves. Her life was proof that even the smallest spark, when nurtured with persistence and hope, could light up the darkest of paths. And so the young woman who once sat by the window dreaming of freedom had found it, not in riches or luxury, but in the joy of turning her dreams into reality. Aisha's story became a beacon of hope, a reminder that the universe does conspire to help those who dare to dream and work tirelessly to achieve them.